Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to draft a basic sleeve block that will fit your bodice block perfectly. If you haven't seen my video on how to draft a basic bodice block, then please check out that video and then come back. For this tutorial, I'm using 3 rulers, a 30 centimeter French curve, a grading ruler, and a pattern master. And lastly, I have my pattern paper, marker, tape measure, and paper scissors. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a straight line across the top portion of my paper. So I have a guideline. Now I'm going to take all of my measurements from this line. So the first thing I'm going to mark is my sleeve length, which is 23 inches. That is from my shoulder all the way down to my wrist. Okay, so now that I've marked my sleeve length, now I'm going to mark my sleeve cap height. So to get my sleeve cap height, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bust measurement, I'm going to divide that by 12, and then I'm going to add a ½ inch to it. Now for me, that is 3.3 inches. So this right here is our bicep. So this is our bicep, this is our wrist. Now we're going to mark our elbow measurement. So to mark your elbow measurement, you're going to figure out what half of your bicep to wrist measurement is. Then from that point, I'm going to come up by a ½ inch. And that is my elbow measurement. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my wrist. So to figure out what my wrist measurement is, I'm going to take my measuring tape and measure around your wrist, which for me is 6 inches, and then I added 2.5 inches to it, which gives me 8.5 inches. And then just make sure that your hand can comfortably slide through your tape measure. And if it can, mark half of that measurement on your wrist line. So half of 8.5 inches is 4.25 inches. Now we're going to get our bicep measurement here. So to figure out what your bicep measurement is, you're going to have to remember how you drafted your bodice block. So in order to get the measurement from this shoulder point all the way down to our chest line, what we did was we divided our bust measurement by 6 and then we added 1.5 inches. So from here down to here for me is 7.16 inches. And then to our chest line, I added a ½ inch. So whatever amount of ease that you added to your chest line, you're going to want to add that to your armhole length. So adding 7.16 inches to a half an inch is going to give me 7.66 inches. And you are going to mark that measurement on this line right here. Now that you've done that, you're going to draw a diagonal line from here to here. So now you're going to draw a line from here, your bicep, to your wrist. Okay, so after you've done that, now the next thing you're going to do is draw a diagonal line, bicep measurement. Now you're going to find the halfway point of this line. Then you're going to draw a line perpendicular to your line right here, up a half an inch. Now we're going to draw the back armhole. So take your French curve, making sure that the top part of your ruler does not pass this guideline you have up here. So that is now our back armhole. Now we're going to do our front one. So we're going to move our ruler down. And then now we're going to flip it. And then now we have our front armhole. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut this out, and when we cut it out, we're going to make sure we cut our back armhole first. Then you're going to open it, and then now we're going to cut our front. So now we need to figure out if our sleeve head will fit into our armhole. Hello, Editing Rebecca here. It'll be a little bit easier for me to explain this in a voiceover. On the left, I have my sleeve block. In the middle, I have my front bodice block. And on the right, I have my back bodice block. In order to ensure that all these pieces fit together, you want to make sure that your sleeve head measurement, which is marked in blue, is equal to the two measurements of your bodice block armhole for the front and the back. If your two measurements are not equal, then you're going to want to extend your bicep line by whatever that difference is. Here is a pattern where I had a difference of 1/4 of an inch, so I extended the bicep line by 1/4 of an inch, and then I connected that point back down to the wrist. I'm going to measure my sleeve head right here. Now I'm measuring the front armhole. Now I'm measuring the back armhole, starting where I left off measuring the front. For this pattern, my two measurements were equal. So now to figure out where my center notch is going to be, I am walking my front pattern across the front sleeve head and marking where my pattern stops. Where it stops is where my new sleeve head notch is going to be. So there you have it. That is your basic sleeve block. If you enjoyed the video, please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social media accounts.